Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turn out a poem 616. I rose because he sank. We are in many ways back to poem 190 and that idea of yielding or not yielding to a forceful lover. Now, when this poem was published in the Atlantic Monthly for the first time, it was of March of 1929. Our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you worked our set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've been working with us in our preceding 615 poems. We just finished with 615. Our journey had advanced. If you have been doing that reading, you'll be able to place this poem within the context of other poems, 322, 474, 577, where love is somehow postponed to the afterlife or to some notion of eternity. The refusal of a lover, as well we will see when we get to poems 1053 and 643. She says it this way: I rose because he sank. I thought it would be opposite, but when his power dropped, my soul grew straight. I cheered my fainting prince. I sang firm even chants. I helped his film with him, and when the dews drew off that held his forehead stiff, I met him balm to balm. I told him best must pass through this low arch of flesh. No cask so brave it spurned the grave. I told him worlds I knew where emperors grew, who recollected us if we were true. And so with thews of him and sinew from within, and ways I knew not that I knew till then, I lifted him. Now, there's been, the man who pointed out, there's an interesting reversal here. Of course, it's Jesus Christ who rose from the grave in Christian theology. But notice here, it's Emily who says, I rose because he sank. Now, who is the he of the poem? That we don't know. I thought it would be opposite. In other words, I kind of thought he would be the strong one and I would be the weak one. But when his power dropped, my soul grew straight. Some have pointed out the Matthew 7:13, straight as the gate. I cheered my fainting prince. Now, some have read this as ironic. I sang firm, even chants. By the way, this fainting prince will take us back to the end of Yellow Wallpaper, our study of the Gilman text. Now, why should that man have fainted? But he did, and right across my path. You'll remember our study at learnstrong.net for those of you who want to follow that to ground. I sang, notice all the religious language here. It's firm, even chants, all the uses of the dash. I helped his film with him. It's an amazing line, right? And the sound. And when the dews drew off, that held his forehead stiff. By the way, some have read a lot of sexual language in this poem. I'll leave you to kind of run that one to ground. I met him balm to balm. In other words, you get the sense that he's trying to talk her into doing something, and she says, no, let's not. I told him best, that is to say, it would be best, must pass through this low arch of flesh. In other words, it's better to go to the end and to die. No cask, only use of this word, by the way, the idea of the helmet. So brave, it spurned the grave. In other words, we mustn't think about this as being the most important thing. I told him worlds I knew. It's interesting it's worlds and not world as in the afterlife. Where emperors grew, of course, emperors for saints, yes, who recollected us if we were true. Again, that's the key word of the poem. And so with thews of him, back to the chanting, and sinew from within. Think about our study of poem 59 and her rendering of Jacob's wrestling with the angel, and of course the Genesis 32 passage about sinews. From within, and ways I knew not that I knew till then. She says, I discovered a strength I didn't even know I had. I lifted him. Saved him? What are we going to do with a poem like this? I think the message is here at 2A is it's hard sometimes to delay gratification, but it's sometimes necessary. Obviously at 2B, who is the he of this poem? At 3A, well, there's so many poems where Emily plays this game of postponed love, especially to the reward of eternity. 322 comes to mind, 474, 577. We'll see this again of the refusal of the lover in 1053 and 643. Finally, at 3B, when was a time that you had to be strong to help the other who was sinking so that they ultimately could rise? Now, I hope that Emily is challenging you. Thank you.